Welcome to episode 7 of Everything Sports with Aman. I am your host, Aman Adkarni, and I talk about the hottest topics in sports over the course of the past week. And this week, we're talking about Carson Wentz officially being traded from the Eagles to the Indianapolis Colts, Fernando Tatis Jr. signing a 14-year, $340 million deal. Jump into Fantasy Minute as always. Get a UEFA Champions League update in. And then the NBA All Stars being announced and my feelings about it. And without further ado, let's start talking about Carson Wentz officially on the move to the Indianapolis Colts, and all the Colts gave up was a conditional second and a third round pick, and that second will become a first round pick if Wentz just stays healthy and plays 70 to 75% of the snaps, and then that second will become a first. And I really feel like this is a really good deal for the Colts because since Luck retired, let's see, they had Jacoby Brissett and then Philip Rivers for a season not carried that team, but played well for them, but decided to hang up his cleats and retire. And now the next Colts QB is Carson Wentz. His career is 113 touchdowns, 50 interceptions. But this past season, he got 16 touchdowns and 15 interception and was sacked 50 times and then threw for 2,620 yards with a horrible 57.4% completion rate. And he was literally one of the, if not the worst quarterback in the league statistically. And his career is 62.7% completion, but Colts gave up two picks, which could be a second and third. And Wentz was stuck in Philly with a horrible, horrible, horrible offensive line. Like, I know Wentz never wanted to throw the ball away and he just prolonged the play, and that's how he got sacked. But their offensive line sucked. The whole season, they allowed 65 sacks, 50 of them going to Wentz, and I guess 15 going to Jalen Hurts. And now Wentz goes to the Colts offensive line, who's arguably one of the best offensive line. Like, I think they only allowed like 19 or 17 or like nine, some incredible number of sacks, like really low number. And Quentin Nelson is, when you talk about the best interior offensive lineman, he might be the best in NFL history. That is how great and amazing he is, not only for the Colts, but for the league because he's really good. And now, what does this mean for the Eagles? There were reports that they're most likely moving on from Deshaun Jackson. He already posted on his Instagram saying, "Whoever welcomes me, you're getting the best deep threat in NFL history." I don't know if that's actually true, but he is going to get released from the Eagles. This is definitely time for rebuild, trading Wentz, and there's so much criticism that's been aimed at Wentz this past season. Granted, one of them people was me. One of those people was me. And Wentz sucked. There's no question about it. But now he's going to the Colts. Their head coach is Frank Reich, and I'm pretty sure he was their offensive coordinator for the Eagles or on that Eagles staff. And the Bears and Colts went after Wentz because they all have coaches in their staff affiliated with Wentz. And when Wentz was amazing, he was doing well under those coaches. And then they left. And then 2019, he started to regress a little bit. And then 2020, 2021, you just saw the full experience of the Carson Wentz regressing. But now, this is Wentz's biggest chance to revive his career in Indianapolis Colts with like pretty good players. Obviously, that amazing defense and offensive line. And then you got a young Michael Pittman, a veteran, and T.Y. Hilton, who was a really good receiver, was decent this past season. I won't call him good. But all Wentz has to do is just be steady and lead them to a 10-11 game win record, and they could be in the playoffs and actually make some noise. And with that, now we go to the baseball world where Fernando Tatis Jr. signed a 14-year, $340 million deal, and he is only 22 years old, and he has signed a huge contract to stay with the San Diego Padres. And to talk about that signing or re-signing is Evan Garber, as always, sports fan, just like me.
I mean, that is a massive extension, especially for such a young guy. He's only been in the league for 2 years, and he's already getting paid. This is just a breakdown of the contract: $45,000 per one at bat, 16.5 thousand per one inning, $200 million per month. Sorry, $2 million per month, 2.8 thousand per hour, and just $47 for 1 minute. Like that is just crazy. And I personally think it's not the smartest deal for the Padres because yes, he's been like playing like an all-star these 2 seasons that he's been playing, but like that for all we know, that could be a fluke. I mean, look at Bryce Harper. He signed a massive deal, and he's honestly looking like a bust so far for that massive contract. So we'll have to see what Tatis does in the next 14 seasons now with the Padres.
Yeah, exactly. Unless he requests a trade or something. I was so surprised um that this deal came into being. I didn't even look at the 340 million. That's all fine. That's only 324 point, let's round up $3 million per year. And but then I just look at the 14 years. These are just, I mean, hey, if you like to stay in the city or something, this was such an insane deal because you in sports nowadays you see maybe like 5 years, 6 years, and then I think it started with Bryce Harper or whatever. That some then massive deals just came like 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. Just insane, insane deals, which I couldn't believe that happened.
Right, but like it from the player standpoint, it's definitely a smart thing to do because you get locked in for that many for a long time for so much money. I mean, you're easily going to be set for the rest of your life with that kind of money. I mean, even with the taxes and stuff, you're still going to get like $300 million for that contract. It's pretty crazy.
It's some really insane number, and his stats, as you said, he's been in the league for 2 years. He's gotten 39 home runs, 98 RBIs, and a total of 111 runs. And he was third in Rookie of the Year voting, and fourth in the NL MVP race last season. And this is clearly a massive contract, and Padres are definitely taking a massive risk with this 14-year deal. I mean, worst case, it doesn't work out, but we'll see how he does with the Padres. I mean, he's been with the Padres, but with this new contract, let's see what they do and if they make some noise in the MLB. And with that, thanks for coming on to the podcast once again, Evan.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. So now we go to Fantasy Minute, where I talk about the best players you should add on your fantasy basketball team. And obviously, these players will hopefully help you get on the winning sides of things if you lost, or if you're just a winning team and you want to be at the top of your league. So now the minute starts right now. So first we got Dario Saric, power forward center for the Phoenix Suns. He's 10% rostered. He shoots threes. He's good at shooting, so definitely get him. Jakob Pertl is going to get minutes without LaMarcus Aldridge. He's a great rebounder, center for the San Antonio Spurs. He's 44% rostered. but not fully 50% rostered. So you can get him if he's available in your league. Carmelo Anthony, if he's available, he's 45% rostered. And if you guys know, he's a small forward and power forward for Portland. Dorian Finney Smith, small forward, power forward, Dallas, 8%. They are struggling, but Finney Smith provides a nice shooting. Grayson Allen, shooting guard, small forward, Memphis. He's 10% rostered. He's been seeing increased minutes in the previous game. And if you can keep that up, then pick him up for your team. And that ends fantasy minute. And without further ado, we'll go into the UEFA Champions League update. And so on weekend wrap up episode 2, if you guys haven't seen that yet, I said that Liverpool needs to step up, and they did. They pretty much cruised to a victory against Leipzig. I'm still not sure how to pronounce that. Um, but 2-0 against RB Leipzig. They It was a good win for them. They won fair and square perfectly. I don't feel like there was any controversy there. And I said that they needed to step up because in the Premier League, they were struggling. And this 2-0 definitely gives them confidence. And they might not win the English Premier League trophy, but definitely gives them confidence going into their Premier League games. And Barcelona 4-1. This is definitely Messi's last season with Barcelona. Like, they didn't help him get players like, yeah, they had Suarez, Griezmann, Messi. Like, that's not enough. They lost 4-1. Kylian Mbappe is coming into his own. He is amazing. Can't do anything about the talent. But Barcelona is gonna say goodbye to Lionel Messi, renowned GOAT of soccer, along with Ronaldo, Maradona, and whoever is your best soccer player that you like. And Messi landing spots, he was gonna go to Man City, maybe. There's speculations he might go to the MLS, but personally, I don't think so. I think he still has a lot of playing time left in him. So, like when he's 39 or 40, if he still wants to play soccer, then he can go to the MLS. Because in the end, it's like a retirement home. And Juventus shockingly losing to Porto. Juventus scored in the 82nd minute for their first goal, and it's a 1 point deficit. But let's see what happens. I think Juventus should catch up because Ronaldo is too good. So is Messi. Like, these are the best soccer players in the world right now, struggling in the UEFA Champions League when truly they should be dominating. So we'll see what happens with their games. And to end off episode 7, I'm going to talk about the NBA All Stars that were announced yesterday. So on the East side, Kevin Durant became captain over Giannis because KD left the Golden State Warriors to go to the Brooklyn Nets. I'm sad because I am a Warriors fan, but that's fine. And then we got Kyrie Irving, its teammate, Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards, Giannis Antetokounmpo for the Bucks, Joel Embiid from the Sixers. I feel like there's no surprise here, and the only reason why Harden is not in the starting lineup or in the starters for the East is simply because he held out in Houston, eventually got traded. Yeah, he's been doing well in Brooklyn. But Kyrie also missed some time. There's a lot of temper issues with these big three of the Brooklyn Nets, I'm now realizing. But Kyrie has been dominating lately, so that's why he earned starting honors for the East. There's no surprise. I kind of got a feeling Kevin Durant would be picked over Giannis Antetokounmpo for captain, and I honestly think Kevin Durant will draft well. I personally did not like Giannis's All Star choices, but that's fine because in the end, it's just an All Star game. And Joel Embiid, He's averaging Shaq-like numbers. He is my pick for MVP this season, even though many of you will go for LeBron James. Embiid, you just don't see centers averaging these numbers. Along with Jokic too, it's Jokic, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, Kawhi Leonard of the LA Clippers, Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks, Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors, no surprise, and then of course LeBron as the captain. And Nikola Jokic averaging really good numbers. Like it's him and Embiid, both really good centers. I feel like every season, who's the best center in the league? It's always Jokic or Embiid. And the surprise for me, even though I voted for Luca, I kind of got the feeling Damian Lillard would make it. But Luka Doncic makes it over him. Perhaps Damian Lillard getting snubbed, in my opinion. And LeBron James is LeBron. He's like considered for MVP every single season. And then Stephen Curry is statistically playing one of the best seasons of his career. And he's single handedly carrying the Warriors because they're in the seventh spot. The Warriors probably would have won 4 or 5 games by now if Curry was off the roster. And that's the value to this team. Luka Doncic, he's struggling from three, and this was the tiebreaker between Luka and Damian Lillard. And apparently, the fans voted for Luka over Damian Lillard. And Kawhi Leonard, he's been considered for MVP over Steph. I honestly don't know why Kawhi is being considered for MVP over Steph. Steph is easily top three, probably not top three, top five for sure MVP. You can't deny the amazingness Curry has accomplished this season. And obviously, I talked about Jokic and Embiid. They are just too good. The only way you can beat their team is if one of them is having an off night or something. Jokic is just getting double double after double double. So is Embiid. Embiid and Jokic are just too good. I can't stop talking about them. And let me know in the comments if you want to chime in each episode of the podcast your opinions on my takes for the different topics I covered in the episode. So, without further ado, that'll end episode 7 for this week. Tune in Monday for the third episode of Weekend Wrap Up, or just tune in for the normal episode next week, episode 8 of the normal Everything Sports with Aman podcast.